Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ticker.com's news channel on YouTube. On this channel, we review stock markets and discuss financial news, market trends, and economic data from Wall Street to Global Street. So let's get started. U.S. stock market indices led the top 10 markets around the world, surpassing indices in Europe and Asia. We will review monthly and annual stock market returns in 2024 later, but for now, let us shift our attention to economic news in the week. The U.S. manufacturing sector activities continued to struggle in December, but raised hopes that the 11-month-long contraction may be nearing an end. Germany's jobless rate in November was unchanged, but Spain ended 2024 with the fewest unemployed people since 2007. China's new home sales rebounded in December in top 30 cities and across top 100 developers, but sales continued to decline in 2024. Let us review key events in global bond, currency, and commodity markets last week. The yield on the 10-year U.S. Treasury hovered near 4.6%, the highest since May, after the latest weekly jobless claims report confirmed a strong labor market and supported the view of fewer rate cuts in the new year. Texas crude oil prices edged higher by 5% to $74 a barrel amid colder weather in Europe and China's leaders pledging more stimulus measures in the near future. Natural gas prices in Europe rebounded 8% to 51 euros per megawatt hour after Russia halted gas transit through Ukraine to Europe, and sub-zero temperatures in the region supported the fastest withdrawals from storage since 2021. The euro dropped below $1.03 and traded near a two-year low and declined about 6% in 2024 amid weakening economic prospects in the currency union, political uncertainty, and structural issues faced by France and Germany. The yen remained unchanged around 157 amid thin trading as financial markets remained shut for the holiday period in the new year. We now shift our attention to major stock markets in the U.S., Europe, and Asia. The S&P 500 index and the Nasdaq Composite closed down after a week of trading as investors booked profit after solid annual gains in 2024. European markets closed mixed amid growing worries about political uncertainty in two leading economies of the region and weakening economic growth outlook. The Nikkei 225 stock average extended weekly gains for the second consecutive week as investors debated rate paths, fiscal budget details, and upcoming spring wage increase levels. Hong Kong and China indices plunged sharply amid growing skepticism about economic growth recovery, and the yield on the 10-year bond dropped to a new record low of 1.16%. Indian market indices closed higher as investors look for signs of re-acceleration of economic activities, or rather possible rate cut by the newly appointed leader of the Reserve Bank of India. Wall Street indices traded volatile in the new year amid weak investor participation and stretched valuation. Benchmark indices advanced in 10 of the 12 months in 2024 in New York, but they were far more volatile in Europe and in Asia, as you can see in this slide on the screen. The S&P 500 index and the Nasdaq Composite advanced more than 20% for the second year in a row in 2024, following economic strength, earnings growth, and rally in artificial intelligence-linked stocks. European markets traded down in holiday-shortened week and delivered mixed performance in 2024. Market indices in Germany led the region with a rise of 19%, driven by sustained growth in exports and rate cut optimism. However, French market indices declined and delivered the worst performance in the region in 2024 after the nation appointed fourth government and failed to pass fiscal budget in the year. Indices in China rebounded sharply in the fourth quarter after Chinese leader promised raft of fiscal stimulus to support flailing property market and local governments. Benchmark indices in Japan extended a string of positive returns for the fifth year in a row in 2024 as the Bank of Japan ended negative interest rate policy and regulators pushed large corporations for shareholder reforms. Let us shift our attention to merger deals, market movers, and earnings updates from leading companies last week. BYD Company, the Chinese vehicle maker, led the worldwide market and delivered 595,412 units in the fourth quarter, and these are just electric vehicles, by the way, an increase of 13% from a year ago and surpassed the US-based Tesla. Tesla delivered 495,570 units in the fourth quarter, an increase of 2.3% from a year ago and 7.1% from the third quarter. Alibaba agreed to sell its entire 70% stake in Sun Art, the operator of hypermarkets, for $1.7 billion and at a substantial loss as the online retailer vowed to focus on its core business. Earlier in the last month, the company sold its entire stake in Intime, another offline retail chain. Alibaba booked a total of $3 billion losses related to two transactions and decided to focus its efforts on the rising competitions surrounding its core online business. Nippon Steel's $15 billion deal to acquire U.S. Steel was rejected by President Joe Biden, citing national security concerns. In the week ahead in the U.S., investors are looking forward to the release of international trade balance for November and job openings and non-farm payrolls report for December. In the week ahead, the private surveys of service sectors in the Eurozone, France, Italy, and Spain are likely to show increase in activities in December. The December's overall inflation for the Eurozone, France, and Italy is also expected to hover near 2%. Investors are also awaiting the release of Germany's retail sales and factory orders and France's international trade balance in November. Ministry in Japan is set to release household income and spending data, and in India, M3 money supply and industrial production data are on calendar. You can review daily U.S. and global financial market news, stock movers, earnings releases, SEC filings, and economic updates on ticker.com and 123jump.com. You can find the latest financial books on Rudera.com, keep up with financial industry events on eventsinamerica.com, review ETF and mutual fund performance and in-depth profiles on tickerfunds.com, and review market updates and stock movers in India on niveshak.in. That is all for today, and we will see you next